then guys, welcome back to the channel. So Chris Eubank Sr. has decided not to support his son Chris Eubank Jr. in the fight against Conor Benn. Now this has become a massive talking point, so I thought it'd be great to discuss with you guys. Look, Chris Eubank thinks that his son could seriously be hurt in a fight. He thinks his son is a 168 fighter, right? He thinks Junior is 168 fighter. Junior in this fight against Conor Benn is coming down to 160 with a rehydration clause. And Chris Eubank Sr. thinks his son could be seriously hurt. And he's really concerned about it. And that's why he doesn't support this fight. He doesn't want to be at the fight. He doesn't want to promote the fight. He doesn't want anything to do with this fight. Actually, on his podcast, which is on YouTube, you can check out because it's a really good podcast. Chris Eubank Sr. actually talks about the fact that, you know, this fight wouldn't happen. Actually, Chris Eubank Jr. Sr. said in the first fight wouldn't happen. And lo and behold, it didn't happen because Conor Benn took drugs and he got popped for it. And he's adamant this time around that this fight, the second fight, which the press conference is down now and we're just waiting for the fight in April, Chris Sr. is adamant that this fight is not going to happen. And he's really serious about it, and he's defiant, and he doesn't want to change his mind. Now, I've seen a lot of people in the comment section under, you know, Chris Eubank Sr.'s podcast, some of the videos, people are saying the fact that Chris Eubank Sr. is a bad father. He doesn't support his son. People are saying that, you know, he's jealous of his son. People are saying that he just wants to make everything about himself, and he just wants the limelight for himself instead of for his son. And there's a lot of things that people are saying under those videos. And I just feel like I have a different opinion to this, right? Like Chris Eubank Sr., you need to understand from his perspective. He's the same fighter that landed a shot on his opponent, Michael Watson, that Michael Watson is right now, unfortunately, in a wheelchair because of a shot in the ring. So Chris Eubank Sr., if anything, Chris Eubank Sr. knows exactly how dangerous boxing is. He was an incredible fighter, one of the best fighters, you know, I've ever seen. One of the best British fighters ever, Chris Eubank Sr. So if anything, right, Chris has first-hand experience as to what it means to be in a boxing ring and how dangerous boxing can be. So as a father, right, you have to look at it from Chris's point of view, right, Senior's point of view. As a father, he is thinking my son is putting his life at risk. And mind you, Chris Eubank Sr. actually lost his son last year. He lost his son last year, and he's probably scared he doesn't want to lose another son again, right? And boxing, we've seen people lose their lives in boxing just recently as well. So Chris is worried for his son Junior. And, you know, I understand it, you know, from a father's point of view, how getting in a ring, boiling yourself down, and then potentially fighting a guy that popped for drugs, potentially, right? Fighting that guy could be detrimental to your health. I understand that absolutely from Chris. So I don't think Chris Sr. is jealous, or I don't think he wants to take the limelight, you know, from his son. I mean, we know Chris is very eccentric. He's very flamboyant. He's very, you know, I wouldn't say not, you know, a narcissist, but he's a guy that, you know, loves himself. He's a showman, right? And that's the way his boxing career had been the whole time. That's what Chris Eubank Sr. is. And, you know, people really like it and some people don't, but he's just who he is, right? But I don't think that Chris is trying to take his son's, you know, limelight or trying to be famous or want the attention on himself, because I think Chris is genuinely worried for his son, right? I remember this interview on TalkSport where Chris was talking with Simon Jordan, and Simon Jordan had called Chris Eubank Jr. a charlatan, and Chris Eubank Sr. was on air, and Chris actually did not defend his son, because he said his son does not listen, right? He said Chris Eubank Jr. does not listen. So although Chris does not like this fight, behind the scenes, there's a number of things that have gone on between father and son. And it's really sad to see, because I think this particular fight would be an absolutely blockbuster if Chris Eubank Sr. was part of the promotion, the press conference, the interviews, you know, the moment. The fact is, it is because of Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn why we're going to get Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. It's because of them. So Chris Eubank Sr. being next to his son to support him in this fight and be at the press conference and have his say and really sell the fight, I think, you know, it is a great thing. And unfortunately, you know, he's not going to be part of it. So look, I think it's a situation where, you know, you have to look at things from Chris's point of view and say, you know, see it from his point of view and have an understanding as to why he's thinking the way he's thinking, because once again, he landed a shot on Michael Watson, and Michael Watson was never the same again in a boxing ring. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. But this is a big fight for both kids, Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, and they're going to go ahead with it. So it'll be really interesting to see how this one plays out, because Chris Eubank Sr. is adamant that the fight this time around, that's not happened. So maybe he knows something that we don't know. We're yet to see. But you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you think about this situation. Do you agree with me in saying that you got to look at things from Chris's point of view, because he's been there, you know, he's seen how dangerous boxing can be, you know, firsthand? Or do you think Chris is being selfish, he's being jealous, he wants to take the limelight away from his son? Get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about this situation. As always, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave your comments in the section below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.